guest tap sessions. Sorry, I'm getting notifications here. That's why I'm pausing here. But welcome here, everyone. This is the third live stream as part of the author podcast, Pint and Portal Author Podcast. So I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you working with me through the bumps in the road as I try to figure out the live streaming platform. And
it's very new.
It is. And I've only ever hosted about 4 live streams. So this is all new territory to me, but we've got the chat running now, finally, after the 4th try here. We're good. And you'll see Daniel and Ben popping in the chat. They're a little bit more active than me because I can't focus on more than 3 things at once, guys. I don't know.
That's fair.
But I'll see the questions, and I'll try to pull them into the conversation, as we go. But as far as typing a message, I feel rude doing that to Daniel and Ben while I'm hosting, and I know, it's the millennial in me that doesn't like typing while I'm chatting with people. So it's all good. But welcome here. We're here talking about Kickstarters today. Of course, I'm just going to do a quick plug here at the beginning. We're in the last 3 days for my Kickstarter for the special edition of Flower and Forge. It's a epic cozy fantasy. It's part epic, part cozy, all adventure with a side of pastry. It is like The Hobbit meets The Wizard of Oz. So I had a lot of fun with this. Go check out the campaign. You can find it on Kickstarter. The links are, I believe, in my bio. If not, just search for Flower and Forge on Kickstarter. You'll find it. 3 days left. We're doing great. We've hit some tremendous stretch goals, and I think we'll be talking about goals and stretch goals and all that today, I imagine. We just unlocked a reverse cover illustration, so not only do you get the shiny gold cover, you're going to get an illustrated cover on the flip side. Thank you, Jason, so much. I love this book. I mean, I wish that I could just let everybody who sees it hold it, because it doesn't do it justice to see even the video of it. When I got it, I was floored. So that's my plug. The my sponsor for today is my own Kickstarter. Go check it out. And so Daniel and Ben, welcome here. I think Alan might be joining us here or there. If I see him pop in, we'll let him in. But welcome here, you guys. It's great to chat with you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Herman.
Yeah, you bet. And I mean, Daniel, it's been a while since I think have chatted face to face. And Ben, This is the first time that we have as well. So I know I've seen the 2 of you talk, and Daniel and I have talked, but we've got the 3 of us here together today. So why don't, for those people who are listening, whether live or on the recorded session later, give us a little bit of a background of who you are and how your author career has progressed so far. Ben, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Herman. So I'm Ben Schenkman. I am an urban fantasy author and audiobook narrator. I started publishing in 2023, so it's not even a full 3 years later. And I have 3 different urban fantasy series in progress. I've got The Devil You Know, which is a 3-book, soon to be a 4-book series. I have The Chronicles of Corbin Pierce that starts with Let Sleep in God's Lie, and I have The Cycle of Ash, my Jewish urban fantasy that starts with My Brother's Keeper, as well as a standalone dungeon core thing that I did for the Inkfort Publishing Derby with Poppy Alexander's. So I have 6 published works with 2 produced audiobooks that I do myself. So yeah, my publishing journey has been busy.
Yeah, no kidding. And Ben, just are you doing this full time? To fit all that in, you're just all doing this on the side. That's incredible.
Lots of coffee.
Yeah. Right. So do you sleep then? I guess is the follow-up question to that.
I'm not sure I could even spell sleep at this point. And that's enough, bad as an author.
That's what editors are for, though, right?
Right. Well, we'll fix it in post. It's fine.
Exactly. And Daniel, how about yourself? Where has your author journey taken you? People probably know you best from your Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast, But give us I don't know if people know as much about you as an author.
Oh yeah, probably
So,
not.
you know, how has your writing journey started, and where is it taking you?
So I had this crazy idea in January, and speaking of not sleeping, Ben and I were chatting after we had our live interview and then a separate one from My Brother's Keeper. By the way, guys, 5 out of 5 stars from me. Go check it out. Amazing book. I'm like trying to do that now with my own stuff because I like loved it so much. And then I read Andrew Gibler's like Soul Fraud, like right before that, like I finished Andrew's book, and then Andrew came on for Ben's live launch, which was super cool. But like it happened like kind of like around the same time where I was seeing people do, you know, really amazing anthologies. Herman, you were doing your own Kickstarters that were really cool. And I said to Ben, I was like, what if we did a Kickstarter, like an urban fantasy anthology? And I'm in the middle of like draft 5 of my prequel novella #1. And Ben's like, I think we might be able to plan something. And then we just had like all these things fall into place. Nice. One of those being, it hasn't been announced yet, but Ben and I were invited on another Kickstarter. And then I was like, oh crap. And which was really cool. And Ben's like, are you going to do this? And because we were talking about ours, and I was like, well, are you going to do it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a really great opportunity, particularly if we could, you know, do them relatively at the same time, you know, not like right on top of each other, but kind of cascade in. We'll just get a lot of plugs and stuff. And it sounded really fun. So I've kind of put my 5th draft for my prequel novella #1 on hold until next month. We have the pre-launch phases going right now for our own Kickstarter. That was kind of my idea, was like, and it already happened because like Ben gave me really great feedback for my novella, really, that's in here, No Rest for the Wicked. So and for me, like to get with people like Ben and Alan, who worked for Marvel, like writing and editing, and worked for Mattel and Hot Wheels for so long, and does his own amazing comics on Kickstarter. It just to me seemed like a no-brainer to kind of pause my own thing and to really focus on these 2 stories within my urban fantasy world, one of which is my same character as my prequel novella series for my Monster Hunter, Nathaniel Wither. And if you guys like Supernatural, I think, you know, you're really, and why am I blanking, Ben, on what the werewolf show was called? It's like Teenage Werewolf, or you guys know what I'm talking about? It was like back in like the mid 2000s, but it was like all the teenagers were werewolf. Thank you, Teen Wolf. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I was blanking on that. So like that and Teen Wolf, like you probably really like my series. So and then I kind of expanded in there with the other Kickstarter that Ben and we have the opportunity to kind of write what we want to write. And I was like, well, I'm going to kind of stick to my urban fantasy world. So this year I'll have my prequel novella #1 for my Monster Hunter series coming out this summer. Knock on wood, I'm not working a lot, so I'll have the other 2 finalized and done. The covers are going to be updated really soon. And I got my updated cover for my prequel novella #1, The Hunted. It looks absolutely incredible. Ben actually gave me the suggestion to go to get covers. They did an amazing job. So I'm really thrilled to do that updated cover revealed this summer. So I am riding on the coattails of everybody. I am the baby author, as I like to tease in the chat. Ben shaking his head, no. But it's true. And like, but it's cool, right? To literally be like, you know, the newbie with these amazing people. Like we kept asking people, and Ben and I are like, are you sure? Like, and like all of a sudden we had this amazing list of authors, and we had other people too that said yes, but like then, you know, had other stuff pop up. And I give you credit, Ben, because I really think it was your idea. I had 5 people this morning tell me the idea for Arcane Awakenings was really like what they loved. And I was like, well, that was Ben's plan right there. We wanted a really cool theme. So for me, Herman, like it's been really cool to get to write, to learn. And it's almost like not just, you know how it is, right? Not just getting a Kickstarter education, but getting an education as an author. Absolutely amazing. So when I finish up my own book, you know, in the trilogy, it's going to be that much better because I've gotten great feedback from people like Ben and Alan and Dave Hensley as well, who's in our group. So absolutely amazing time. JM Selly gave me some feedback too. So I'm working through everybody. So I basically gotten like a second education as an author. And it's like, to me, it's like the best way to grow. So I feel really blessed that Ben said yes, because he was the first one that I asked. He goes with my crazy shenanigans and makes them better. So I really appreciate everybody's help and hearing in the chat. So
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna pull back to Ben here for a bit because you touched on some
Perfect.
stuff from Ben that I think, I mean, was super interesting that Ben didn't even talk about. So now we don't let, for those of us that don't know your background, Ben.
Yeah.
Daniel mentioned Marvel. He mentioned a few cool projects in
Oh,
there.
that
That
was
was
Alan.
That's
Sorry.
Alan. That's
Alan.
Alan.
Okay.
That's Alan.
Um,
I have weird cool hobbies, but I don't
yeah.
have
He does.
that pedigree.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we'll still chat with you anyway.
Great.
Do it because Ben
um,
keeps me in check.
that's funny. Tell us about a bit about when Daniel approached you from your perspective for the anthology. What was that like for you, and what kind of was running through your head at that time?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, and I hate to refer to it this way, but like urban fantasy is a little bit of a forgotten genre.
Mm,
And by forgotten, I mean it's been subsumed by the larger umbrella of contemporary fantasy, and a lot
okay.
of people think of urban fantasy as like this throwback genre that now only a certain like luminaries write in. Like if your name's not Jim Butcher,
Right.
or Benedict Jacka or Ben Aranovich, then like is it urban fantasy? So like uh,
Mm.
from the jump, I have been an urban fantasy author because it's also my favorite genre to read. And when I think so, I'm going to go further back. The first time I was on Daniel's podcast for fantasy and sci-fi fanatics, he said to me, I love urban fantasy. I'm writing urban fantasy. Wouldn't it be cool if we did an anthology? And I said, yeah, that would be awesome. I am always down for that. And that kind of like
Forgot about that.
that idea went into a coma for a little while because like we're all busy and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then, we it got resurrected, and I think it was before this other Kickstarter, because or this other anthology. So again, we can't talk about it because it's not even in pre-launch yet. But Daniel and I are both involved in another anthology. But even before that, and I think it actually, and I don't remember if it was it my launch that really solidified the concept. But the more we get urban fantasy authors together and talking about the work, the more it's like, oh man, we really do love doing this. And why isn't there a good urban fantasy anthology out right now? And like, yeah,
Hmm.
Butcher and folks, there's a I think it's a cross genre anthology though that they're involved in for charity, which like cool, that's great. But we wanted an indie author urban fantasy anthology with great stories that is gonna grab people. And so the thing that was going through my mind was we got to get this right, you know? So
Mm.
besides like, absolutely, I'm in, we're doing this. It was, we're going to have to get it right because urban fantasy is more challenged than other genres. We're not romantasy. We're not in the zeitgeist of book talk right now, you know? So we're going to need to make this thrilling and interesting. And that I think gets to where Daniel was talking about the concept. And uh secret, it was like, this is a Pint and Portal exclusive. It was
Ooh.
going to be a Halloween themed urban
Oh,
fantasy
really?
anthology. And the more we thought about it though, and this is so funny because I can remember where I was. I'm literally walking through like Sephora with my partner on my phone on like Messenger, talking to Daniel and Alan, and I'm like, like I know we want it to be a Halloween thing, but like what if we made it broader, because I want to make sure we can get as many of these amazing authors as possible.
Yeah. Right.
And so we broadened it to Arcane Awakenings, which is what about urban fantasy stories that focused on the origination, the emergence of magic? Because
Right.
one of the conceits of a
Okay.
lot of urban fantasy is that magic's already there, right? Magic's already in the
Yes.
world. Harry Dresden already lived in his small apartment as a wizard for hire and had relationships with the police. But like, we don't get a lot that talks about when he first got the spark of magic. And
Right.
so this idea was born on the awakenings of magic. So whether the story is about when the main character finds their magic, when magic awakens in the world, when someone does something and cracks open the universe and magic comes out and then it's alive in the world, it's what it's not unique, but I think it is more rare than other urban fantasy themes focusing on the origination. So basically I was like, what if we just did a whole bunch of origin stories and we let people vibe on that, and it's really resonated so far.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
and
I would say I'm not the best at like doing things, if that makes sense. But like,
It's a
well,
really
like,
broad
it's just,
statement, Daniel.
but it's true. Like there are certain things, right? Like that I am really good at, and like I've learned a lot of things this year from like my principal and different leaders and stuff. And I think the best thing to know is when other people do better than you at things, you know, and are more skilled at those things.
Okay.
And like, so for me, like I had talked to different people like you, Herman, and I just realized I was like, I need a core team. Like I need a couple people that know what they're doing in particular areas. So Alan is our like Kickstarter guru. And I've talked to, people like you, Herman, but like Ben, in my opinion, is our urban fantasy guru, and is really, writing like if you guys read My Brother's Keeper, which you should, by the way, I'm going to keep plugging it because it was a fabulous book. But it really got me thinking like, what I really love about the genre, and like people like Rob Thurman, like Stephen Blackmore, all right, and everybody's doing something slightly different, but the things that I love about these books are what like Ben did in My Brother's Keeper, and I thought, well, I really want that in this urban fantasy anthology. So for me, it was like a no-brainer to have these two people be the core team, right? So when Ben, and Alan, I'm like, hey, when they like have a better idea, again, I came up with the original idea, but Ben had a better idea. So for me, I'm like, let's do that. Because I, like Ben said, right? Like we want to do the super cool thing. And we want everything to be really, really cool. I want to do one per year for urban fantasy. Eventually, I'd love to do one per year for fantasy through Shadowstain Press and do like our own LLC and stuff. I've talked to a couple people about that. And I mean, I thought that theme that Ben came up with, like as soon as he said it, and Alan said the same thing, was like, you know what, we don't want to box people in. And as soon as we, changed that theme a little bit, the authors were on board. Like some people that were like on the fence, like complete, like we're like, yup. So I keep saying, I'm just laughing to my friends that aren't authors, and they're like, what's so funny? I was like, I'm just glad that people have told me, right? Like your skill is putting great people together and then listening to those people. And it happens at school too, right? But thankfully I've been able to transfer those skills. So, and I was like, oh, well, thank God I have those skills, because, I think that it's, being able to listen to people, and Ben and Alan both come with a lot of experience, so that's like kind of just real quick to the crowd. I want to say like, pick people that know more than you, and then listen, because you're never going to be, unhappy with what comes out of it. So.
No, totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, switching to a topic that is, I mean, Halloween is pretty specific, but the new topic is specific enough that the stories will feel kind of cohesive with the theme, but they're broad enough that it allows authors to explore more with it. Right. That was kind of like the Honor anthology that I was a part of with C.S. Diamante. Yep. At first hearing the theme of honor is like, what does that mean? And he kind of just let us, he didn't want to tell us. So he's like, just whatever you think. And at first it's difficult, right? At first it's difficult because you're like, okay, now I have to like figure out my take on this. But at the same time, I wasn't boxed into a specific topic. It really was a broad theme that we could kind of play around in, which I think is easier for people to kind of like, okay, I think I have an idea for this theme, rather than I don't know what to write about Halloween. That's not really my thing, right? So I totally get that. But speaking, Daniel, of your ability to get the right people together, how did you approach the authors that you got involved in the anthology? What did that process look like? And I guess a little bit more about the selection and who got involved.
Yeah, Ben and I talked, and then brought Alan in with the idea of, because like I can't remember who did it, but we're just like, hey, what if we each just found, like what do we do, Ben, like 6 to 8 authors, urban fantasy authors, that we thought would work, right? And then we went, and then I just went down the list, and then we just assigned. So if Ben knew them, like he would invite them. If I knew them, I would invite them. Alan did the same thing, and I think that personally is where our strength lies, because like you said, like, and then once Ben helped us to widen the theme, and then like Alan, like the three of us, we talked about it, and then we're like, ooh, and then I think Ben came up with the perfect like blurb for it, and I was like, man, that thing is hot, and I sent that out to people, and then once we did that, we had a lot of people on board. I think that if I'm right, we only had like maybe like out of a list of like maybe 24, I think like 6 people said they couldn't just because of like time constraints. And like 3 people had other stuff going on. And it was just like they had their own Kickstarters. A few of them actually just like published them the last couple of like 30 days, basically. So even though ours is until the fall, they just felt, it was going to be too hard. But they all said to me, Ben, like, they're like, oh, that's such a cool theme, though. Like they felt like they had missed out. But yeah, that's kind of how we rolled with it. So.
Yeah, cool. And so what was why did you decide Kickstarter was the path for the anthology? And maybe we'll get either Ben or Daniel to chime in on this one, but
go ahead, Ben.
Yeah,
I feel like I need to lead with like a sarcastic statement like, well, Herman, you may not know this, but books are expensive. I mean, it's a proven fundraising path, right? Not just that, but also Kickstarter for publishing anthologies is pretty common at this point. So like there's a lot of options. Like you could have we could have done Kickstarter, we could have done BackerKit, we could have done GoFundMe, we could have done, I think Space Wizard does BackerKit, but like there's a number of funding platforms we could have chosen, but I think Kickstarter is one of the most recognizable. And also there's a lot, like the platform itself can do a lot of things to help you. So like one of the things that we're really pushing for now, all of you listening to this or watching from home now or later, we're pushing for people to go sign up to be notified about the launch. So you go to the pre-launch page and you get notified about the launch, because if we get enough people interested, then once it goes live, like we can start pruning the algorithm. So Kickstarter, I think, was a more natural choice for us because, A, it's a proven platform. B, it is helpful to the creator if you can garner enough interest in it. And then C, we also had a number of folks involved in the Kickstarter, like Alan and others, who are very familiar with Kickstarter as a funding platform. And so we wanted to go with what people were most confident in. So like we're not going to be asking for an obscene amount of money for this, because again, like the most important thing that we can do is to fund the publication of the stories. A lot of the bells and whistles are going to come later, and I'm sure we're going to talk about like tiers and stuff. But the reality is, it is expensive to produce books, but it's not as expensive as people think. And so, Kickstarter is going to be a way for us to set a reasonable funding goal and then hopefully blow it out of the water.
For sure. Cool. So, I guess let's talk about the book itself then, because you've got all these authors involved. Obviously, Kickstarter is it's a great, kind of a platform for publishing that allows you to kind of draw on. I think anthologies work well on Kickstarter because you're drawing from so many people's audiences, right?
Yep.
And really, that's the benefit that we saw with the Honor Anthology, is that we had 22 authors in that one. Well, now you have not just one person's audience that you're trying to pull in. You've got 22, hopefully, authors that have their own fans that you're bringing in, and that sort of thing. But what can your readers expect from this anthology? Obviously the stories, but and the theme. Tell us a little bit more about the book itself, I guess.
As far as like the nuts and bolts of the book, like, so we're
What do you, I guess in a sense, like, does it have, are you including any special features right off the bat? Are you including, is it just kind of, are you looking to print a certain number of copies? How long are, I guess, are each person's story? Like how many, pages are you expecting it to be and that sort of thing?
Sure. Daniel, do you want to start or do you want me to go?
Oh, I can start for that.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the stories, like, because I think it's a funny story, Ben and I are like, what should we ask for? Because we need at least 100K was what we were thinking. And we were like,
100K
people...
words.
Yeah, words. Sorry.
Words.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I've been in Kickstarter world for too long, guys. Been talking to too many people, and I'm in the lingo now, I guess. But yeah, like, so we wanted 100,000 words at least, right? Like, we figure, like, for an anthology, that's like our absolute limit, right? Is what like we would want. So we thought that readers would want the same thing. So we told people anywhere from like 8,000 words to 10,000 words. I have been surprised at how many people, and I think this goes back to the theme, they just loved it, and they're like eating up like that amount of words. So we're gonna have 17 stories from 18 different authors, and yeah, like they're each gonna be at least like 8,000 words, if not 10,000.
Nice.
So that right there, I think, is really amazing. And yeah, I mean, we like surpassed our goal. So for us, like that was like one of our main goals. Our next goal,
it's one of those things when oh, sorry. This is one of those things when you ask fantasy authors to write a story, and you say the limit's 10,000, you're gonna get 17 stories that are 10,001. That's that's the same thing with the Honor Anthology. I think most of the authors were like 9,980 words from 10,000 limit, right? Like, and I mean, there was a couple of exceptions, but without fail, that's what you get when you're talking to fantasy authors. So
I don't want to say that I'm already, like, Daniel and I are both already the exception.
Mine is not as bad as Ben's.
Look, what's a 2,000 extra words among friends? Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was talking to Daniel about that last night because my word count limit obviously 10,000. When I finished the story, because I was trying not to edit as I wrote it, I just wanted to get the full story. It was 14,000 words when I finished, so I had to like cut out 4,000 words, like a third of the story.
I'm not that bad, Daniel. I
don't encourage him, Herman.
As long as you cut it, right? You got to cut, because I mean, at the end, because when you're talking about that many stories, there's only a certain size book that you can publish with a reasonable font size and all that. So I mean, there does need to be some editing choices there. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, continue, Daniel, with the second.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna point to Ben next, because Ben, we all divided like tasks for the core team. It's just so much easier that way. So I've been like looking at doing the research and things, and checking with Alan on things, but and then checking with authors and doing social media. But Ben actually has been heading up the cover. Actually. So Ben, do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I absolutely do not mind. Just one note on the word count. So we asked for like, originally it was 5 to 10K. Everyone is in the 8 to 10K like range.
Yeah.
We are going to have to see what it looks like at the end. But that's also where our editor Alan comes in that I'm expecting there to be some chunks of mine that could theoretically be cut down, but I'm not in a place to do that responsibly. So I'd rather know how much we have to cut before cutting. Because if we average out to, like, if the anthology ends up being in draft form averaging 10K per author, then we're probably okay without like big trims. But if we're averaging like 12K overall, then like, it's all gonna have to get chopped down a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But the cover is fun because and this is interesting, because there's a couple different ways that you can go with an anthology cover. And so far, I think I have seen most of the anthology covers go in a different direction than we've chosen to, because a lot of them do a cover that's based, I think, at least roughly on the theme, and then chooses kind of like a single image that becomes the banner for the story. Urban fantasy is so character driven because what do you Herman, what do you see on an urban fantasy cover first and foremost?
Yeah, I mean, you see obviously the character, whether it's whoever that may be. Yeah,
Right. Urban fantasy covers are almost entirely character focused, right? So when you're doing a cover, you can do a character focused, you can do an object focused, or you can do like, text or silhouettes. And so we knew we were going to do a character focused cover, but then when you've got 17 stories, how do you meld that together? And I'm not going to talk too much about the details because we want to go for one heck of a cover reveal when we do it. But what we've decided is to incorporate elements from each of the stories into the cover in some fashion. So instead of going with a single image trying to represent what are really 17 different, very character focused stories, we're letting those characters meld into what we're hoping for a design is a cohesive illustration. Now, one fun thing I will say is it's going to be an illustrated cover, which is a good hallmark of, I think, a lot of really quality urban fantasy. Now, that's not to say that you like, most of my covers are not illustrated. I have one series that I get illustrated covers done for, but I love an illustrated urban fantasy cover. And so we're currently engaging with Miblart, which is like we'll say like the main company of it. They're I always, my understanding, I thought they were Ukrainian, but like my receipts come back from Romania, so I'm not entirely sure.
They are Ukrainian, because I use Nibble Art as well for almost all of my covers have been actually from them.
That's awesome. Yeah, all of my covers are either Get Covers or Miblart.
Nice. And I think it's for tax reasons, and just on the Romania part, I think it's because of the current situation in Ukraine.
They had to move a couple times.
So we're supporting human Ukrainian artists who are going to be doing the cover. So it's going to be a fully illustrated cover, engaging some really talented people with a really interesting cover concept. We're waiting for the first sketches to come back now, and as soon as we have something that we can tease when we get closer to the launch of the Kickstarter, we absolutely will. But I'm feeling very excited about this cover.
Yeah, and I'll just so they illustrated my covers as well. Like they have some fantastic artists.
It drives me nuts, Herman, that they don't have yours advertised. Like sorry, Herman, but this drives me nuts because I've been trying to get some of my friends to use them. So if you guys are in the audience, make sure you check them out. They have some that they're advertising on the website, but like they should have all of my friends as book covers instead because I think they're better. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't use mine either.
Guys. Yeah, they should though, as the portfolio.
They did feature mine at one point. I know I got a social media feature from them at one point. I think they like to rotate who's on. Who's on the front. Like I had.
Sorry,
Bartending Between Worlds is a couple. Oh, there you go.
This is another Miblart fully illustrated.
Like cover. They do amazing work.
Very nice. They do, and especially for the budget. If you're tighter on funds and you see some of these illustrated covers in the thousands of dollars, which is understandable and very worth the skill that you're getting for them. But not all of us can afford a $2,000 illustration, so they're very reasonable. I've always found. So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Can I add one more thing about the cover in general? Is absolutely. So your mention of cost is super important because the thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to burden the reader to have to support an unwieldy price tag for producing a big anthology. And like, could we have asked our Kickstarter friends for the thousands of dollars to get a Chris McGrath urban fantasy cover? We could have, but I don't think that that's fair to the reader to put that kind of price tag on what are ultimately the stories that we want to give them. So
Okay.
we balanced it when we were looking at the different artists for the cost to quality. We could get a fully illustrated cover by Miblart, human artist, no generative AI at all involved ever, for a fraction of what it would have cost to do an illustrated cover with other people, and frankly less than it costs to do like stock photo manipulation covers from some really well respected and talented urban fantasy cover artists. So we were making a very intentional choice of using an affordable option for getting the kind of cover that we felt would appeal to the reader.
And
Definitely.
just to go off of what Ben just said, 'cause I think that's perfect. So our basis for this whole thing, like I have wanted to do a Kickstarter, and Herman, based off of your suggestion and other people's, you have done multiple Kickstarters. I did not name our Facebook page Arcane Awakenings. I actually am doing like my own indie press for like myself and our anthologies, and like trying to get all the projects centered there, so that in the future, right? Because now we're at like 114 followers on Facebook, which is a great start. So now, right, we have those for the next time, right, that we are going for the next round in the future. That's why I'm always thinking, right, is like building up on not just the Kickstarter platform, but that platform as well, right? But like for us, like we wanted to get an entry level urban fantasy anthology, like Ben said, with a great cover, but also not at great cost to the backers. So now that doesn't mean though that we're not going to try and get somebody for one of those really good stretch goals, like, ask Chris McGrath or whoever, right? Like Jeff Brown, Felix Ortiz, whoever, like, so we're in talks of those kind of things, but that would be, like one of those, one of those stretch goals. Thank you. But I think like, we built it really where like, for like the ebook, right? Like you can come in at like a lower tier, get the ebook. That's what I did with yours, Herman, for both of them behind you, actually.
Appreciate
it. But like, but like, I'm like, you know what? And even if it was just the ebook, it's like, whatever, right? Helps you, I wanted the ebook either way. And it was kind of nice, and then I got some of those stretch goals too, that, you sent and stuff for things for like the digital and stuff, which I thought were super cool. But I think that that's the thing, right? Is giving people that easy entry, and then if they want, right, to grab the paperback, it'll be amazing. If they want to grab the hardcover, that'd be even greater, right? If we hit some of those other goals, then we will just absolutely go like nuts on that thing and make it a Herman Stewart angle, hardcover book. So that was kind of our goal, though, is to kind of just get entry level for people to get, like Ben said, amazing stories with amazing cover where, people aren't burdened at the lower level with the costs. So, everybody can throw us $200, feel free. And then we'll go all the way to the top and give you the best thing you've ever seen in an urban fantasy anthology. So.
For sure, yeah. Well, and and I think you raise a good point, because for Kickstarters, a lot of it depends on your goal, right? And it sounds like your goal to start out is just to get your stories to people and get this anthology created, right? So yeah, you start with the base of what this is going to cost us to, just meet that goal of getting this story printed and out to our readers and our followers, right? And then, if there's enough interest, now you can start adding more illustrations, you can start adding fancy features and that sort of thing. And I definitely have done that with mine. My first special edition cover I did myself, and it took me a long time to get it, because I'm an okay graphic designer, but I'm not really a cover designer. So it took me quite a while to get what I actually had envisioned. And then after that happened, and I got my wife to illustrate the illustrations. So I mean, like, it was
she does a great
super
job.
low cost, right? Thank you. So then for the next Kickstarter, I was like, okay, I managed to pull off one. I don't think I've got another fancy cover in me. So I hired someone to do that cover. And now for this one, I hired someone to do, I decided, okay, we're going to start out with all the fancy features and the sprayed edges. And now I'm just hiring other artists to come in and do extra illustrations, because everything's just building on top of that base, right? So I think that's a great strategy, especially for the first Kickstarter you're running for this, because you're not starting out with all the bells and whistles, which I think is a tempting proposition.
Sorry, I have some breaking news, if I can. I
Please do.
literally just got an email from the artist with the first sketch of
Ooh.
the cover, and like I can't show you, but like look at my face.
You were smirking over
I
it.
get to see it.
This is like
Is it 1 o'clock yet?
You're all going to love like this. I am so excited about like, and that's the thing is if you give enough feedback to the illustrator, that nibble art is fantastic, and like
Yes,
we went hard.
You are, yeah, no, seriously, for a first draft they went so hard.
That's
like
awesome.
you're all gonna be thrilled.
Can I just say, Ben,
That's
just speaking of that, so we like Ben and I and Alan, we worked hard on that thing. Like, and we knew that, right? Like Get Covers was kind of like that. Ben helped me. And I was like, I wish I had done this. And we talked about like, we wish we had said this just over email for anybody, right? Not just like any company. And like, I mean, our authors, some of them are in the chat, so like they'll know, right? Like we went through the ringer asking for cover details and like what do you want for your story and the the theme and stuff like that. And yeah, like I'm really excited to see that, because it was like a lot of work to get this many people really a detailed plan to Ben. So that's super cool.
Right. Very cool. Well, now you've got us
Herman,
all
you
curious
actually
and on the edge of our seats. But
well, Herman, you actually asked a good question too. So I just want people to know that we are doing a year exclusivity contract for our stories. So like my novella, No Rest for the Wicked, is in my Nathaniel Wither universe, and it's also in my Elsewhere universe. And I thought, oh, it's going to be interesting, right, to do that. And Ben Allen and I had talked to the authors, and we want to continue to be able to do stuff with this anthology and not just run 500 copies and be done. So we want to actually be able to use this as, a way for us to continue to help authors, and to get these stories out. So we all signed a year exclusivity contract, but we also said that after the year, you can take your story anywhere you want, but we would also be able to continue to, do the ebook, and to also, be able to do, if we wanted to, if we didn't get to do something for this Kickstarter, we could the following year make sure that we absolutely do a bells and whistles and do something like Michael McKell, right, with that amazing cover that he has right now for Price of Power. And I think that was really smart on our part, because for me, it's like, if we already have everybody together, and we have those basic tiers already set up, we can then do something really cool and continue to help the authors, not only get out there, but, make some money, hopefully, as well on one of those bigger campaigns. So for us, it was all planned really, really succinctly and really specifically, so that we could then build off. If the next Kickstarter we do the following year is like, hey, okay, what did we not get to do? We went up this high, but we want to go this high. Let's do this thing. But then people like myself could then take my novella, and I'm going to do a special edition of that, including some other stories that I have. And then I have another Kickstarter. For me, I never waste words, right? And I want as many products out of things. I just talked to an author about this earlier, where they said they wanted to wait till they had all 3 books out and then do a whole Kickstarter. I said, I wouldn't do that. I would do book 1, book 2, book 3, and then an omnibus. Why? Because then there's 4 products, right? And you gain followers each time. So for me, like when I'm thinking of a business model, that's what I'm always thinking. So we plan that really, really specifically. So I just want people to know, like, we're not trying to do a 500 print limited run. We're trying to build a community and then really branch off in terms of Shadow Stain Press. And in particularly, like me, Ben, and Alan, like I really want everybody to be really happy. And not everybody's gonna be happy 100% of the time, but on every little detail. But I want everybody to be, like really enjoying that they were with us, because I would like to invite people back, the authors, again, and then fill in whoever we need to, and then do the next theme. And because then we'd have everything all set. It's like I'm a coach, right? I want the varsity athletes to stay if they could, right? Those seniors and those veterans. So I think that we were really succinct in what we wanted, and we were really specific in our planning. And personally, I think it's gonna help us out in the future. So
for sure, no, and that's good, and it's good to have those things planned out, in advance. One mistake that I feel like I made in my first 2 campaigns is I said that my special editions were exclusive to Kickstarter, and now I can't do anything with off of Kickstarter. So the only chance I have to sell them is other campaigns, right? Which, I mean, I did to bring people in, you know, to get that scarcity, but it does limit me now in what I can do with, because now that I'm 3 campaigns in, the first 2 campaigns I just did print on demand copies. This time I have to, because costs have gone up so much in the last year, it made no sense for me to do print on demand with and still be able to charge a reasonable price. So now I'm doing a print run for those books, but because they're not the feature book, I can't, like, they're not the main one people are grabbing. So it does limit me a little bit in saying that, you know, this is a one and done opportunity to get it. This third one, I haven't said it's exclusive. It's exclusive if you want a numbered copy. I am doing still been numbered.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, so it's exclusive to, like, you'll still only be able to get them from me, and probably still only in-person events. Because that's really the only extra flexibility I really wanted from the first 2, is that it's too bad I can't show these to people at in-person events. So there's still going to be some exclusivity to it, but I didn't want to box myself into a corner. So, I mean, it's good that you have that, you know, foresight of, this is a special project still. It's a special campaign, but you're able, as the author, is able to do things with the stories later on that, you know, work them into other tiers. And hopefully you've gained some new fans from, you know, the wider audience of your fellow authors, that'll come with you along for that journey as well.
Oh, and speaking of that, Herman, so I just want people to know that Ben had a really good idea where, because I was like debating, I was like, I have a character for my other books, right, that I want to do for this story. Like, he was on my mind. I actually had a student I told him the theme, and he actually gave me the idea for my theme with my character that I've been talking about for years with them and writing, you know, in between doing stuff with work. And it was just super cool. So, but I was like, I really want to write about my character, but, you know, I don't want it to, I want the story to be exclusive, but not the characters in the universe, right, to the Kickstarter. Yes. So that's the way we did it, was like, we actually invited certain authors based off of the fact that we liked their characters so much, or their universes, so they could actually bring the story in, be exclusive to us for a year, you know. And then that's where we said too, right, like, if you want to just come in at that lower tier, you're going to get an amazing product, and, you know, still get to be part of the Kickstarter. But I think that was really smart on Ben's suggestion, because now someone like me doesn't have to create a whole new character and universe. I can just do like a prequel story to my main series, and then later on I get not only this product and get to be part of the Kickstarter, but I get another product later too. So we really did that, and we really want to build up our authors too, like some of them in the chat. You know, you'll see our thumbnail if you guys could go and follow them, you know, and check out their own individual works. We picked them because of their own works. Like, I wanted Ben to be a part of this, and the core team specifically, because of My Brother's Keeper, all right, because my boss is the devil, right, let sleeping gods lie. Like, he is here because I enjoyed his story and his writing so much, right, and his characters and what he was trying to do. That is why, like, we didn't just randomly pick anybody and say, hey, come on. And there were some people, like, it was funny because other people that were like my 9th or 10th person, in case we needed something, you know, from somebody, or if someone dropped or something, and then all of a sudden, like, some of those people ended up on our list later on, because the first people that some of us voted on or brought first weren't able to do it. And then it was funny. I talked to one person. I said, you were actually like on my list, right? It was just, I didn't know if they were going to have time and stuff, but we picked everybody specifically because of their characters, their universes, and quite a few people are bringing, some of the characters that some of you guys already love, or, you know, their writing style or their universes already in terms of urban fantasy, and then writing really cool stories matching this theme, which I think was a great suggestion by Ben. So
yeah, that's really cool. Cool. Well, Ben mentioned earlier about the tiers of the campaign, and tiers as in obviously the reward tiers, not the tiers of the authors trying to reduce their word count.
Well, sometimes.
So what kind of tiers can we expect when the campaign goes live?
So obviously there's going to be there's an ebook tier. There's going to be a print copy tier. And again, Kickstarter, it's going to work the same as all of them. If you get the higher tier, you're going to get the lower tier too, unless it's like, you can pick the paperback tier and you get the ebook. You can pick the hardcover tier, you get the ebook. But we are also going to have a lot of it geared around, I think, the stretch goals, because you can't ask people off the bat to invest in a special edition hardcover, but you can have people buy in at the hardcover tier, knowing that if we get the right support, their hardcover is going to become the special edition
Going to be upgraded.
hardcover.
Okay.
So we're going to have a number of tiers, but I think, and Daniel, you can correct me or back me up, one or the other.
You're doing great. Keep going.
It is that we're going to have a lot of, and this is where the exclusivity stuff kicks in for us. Is the books aren't exclusive to Kickstarter, but there are going to be stretch goals and add-ons that you're only going to get by backing the Kickstarter. So things like, if we're going to get character art in the book, if we're going to get character art that's just like prints, maybe we'll get the character art in the book, but maybe they're going to be exclusive Kickstarter backer prints that you get, which then also, because not everyone loves physical stuff, we're going to make sure we're including digital rewards along with the physical rewards. So if we're doing character art prints, then you would get digital character art rewards, that kind of stuff, because we want to make sure that we're giving people, we want to give them what they want. So if that's physical things to hang up on your walls, great. If that's digital things to put on your desktops at home and your phones, great. We're gonna provide those things.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So lots of cool different things to look forward to. Obviously, you've got different levels of things that you're looking to achieve if you hit certain stretch goals and all that, which is one of the funnest things about Kickstarters a lot of the times, is just seeing what other cool things you get to unlock as the support grows for it, right? So now, when is the planned launch date for the campaign?
September 13th, and knock on wood, as of right now, like, we're looking really good on that, especially since Ben just got the sketch back. So we were worried about that, not because of anything, but just because of like timing. Like we want to be ahead of schedule. Like that's just how it is, right? So for that, right, and we felt like the cover reveal, needs to be sooner rather than later, because people are going to care more about that than they do our logo that we have up right now. Even though I worked like 18 different logos, trying to get everybody, to find something that was really interesting. So Ben, Allen, and I really worked hard on that. But I just know, like, right when we put that cover up there, either on that thumbnail or a new one, like that's what's going to get people, right? Like people want to see your book, right, Herman,
people
on Kickstarter. So
sure.
Yeah. So like that's where we're in pre-launch now, and we have this phase where we're really trying, like, to get to September 13th. We want to have 500 followers by then, and we really want to get awesome. The word out there. And we, like, Michael McCall just got, you guys should check out his Kickstarter, Price of Power. It hasn't launched yet, but he got 500 followers. They already gave him a Project We Love sticker. That's why it's so critical for us to get those followers. If we can get that before we launch, like Ben said, if we can get a Projects We Love sticker, they're going to throw us in like the top 5 to 10% of their algorithm on all of Kickstarter. So even if you guys, all you can do is like pre-launch follow us, that actually is still super helpful for us. So September 13th is when we're trying to launch. And as of right now, we're just going to be looking, actually this week, we have a lot of people that, we're working with in the other Kickstarters. So we're looking to see what they're doing. I've talked to other of my friends. So actually this week, we're literally like finalizing tiers, looking at suppliers, and Ben's always keeping me honest. So, and I know it's Memorial Day weekend next week, guys, and I got a lot going on, but like, we're going to get this thing done and organized. So that way, by the end of this month, like, we can just solve any, issues that come up. But yeah, I mean, we chose September 13th. Ben and my other Kickstarter is going to launch before that, several weeks. So, at the time I had thought that it was going to be after, our original one. But we thought a little bit of overlap might be good, because Ben and I are going to be talking about that other Kickstarter really soon, and we can kind of float back and forth. But yeah, I want people to check out my channel, Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics Podcast, Shadow Stain Press Facebook page. We're gonna keep everything there. We're gonna start to do like 10 live chats with different authors, and awesome. Check with them. Ben, Allen, and I'll kind of rotate through, so that way we can talk to everybody, and we'll do a massive cover reveal and like a live cover launch party and everything like that. So guys, just follow us and stay tuned, and you'll get to see some really cool stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, and that pre-launch period is so important. I think it gets undersold and valued by authors who they'll put it up. They put it up, they launch it 2 weeks later with 20 followers and 10 followers. And
Yeah.
I mean, Kickstarter is so much about momentum, so that you can get that momentum, build it up before the launch period. It's amazing how much difference that can make, right? So
yeah. And we really want to hit like once it's live, like our Ben and my goal personally is to be, good to go for our base goal within 24 hours. And my personal goal is to get the projects we love. We have worked, as Herman knows, like blood, sweat, and tears at this point. I paper cutted myself the other day, trying to get some stuff together for this. So even though everything's mostly digital, so literally we could say that now, Ben. But it's been a lot of work, like and we love this theme. Like all the authors have just been adoring over it. I can't tell you, Ben, like I think I'm up to another message. I had 8 people just this morning say, yeah, I'll share that. That sounds amazing. Where can I follow you guys? So we're all really excited about the theme. Ben, Allen, and I, and all the authors are working really hard. I actually don't know anybody that has not told me at least their rough draft is ready to go. We're all in the critique phase right now with each other. We're in like basically just paired off into groups and trios. And yeah, we're just kind of like, we're trying to pre-edit before Alan gets to it. So, everything's as polished as it can be.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, everybody's been really good about getting stuff to us and super professional. So it's been really nice.
Love it. Right on. Very cool. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. But cool. If you have any other links or places or things that you want to share before we head out for the day, let us know. I'll give you kind of each a chance to plug your stuff, whether it be this or something else. Ben, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Herman. And thanks for having us on. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone should go follow the campaign for Arcane Awakenings. If my work sounds interesting to you, you can find me at benshankman.com. I have my own small press, Caffeinated Terrier Press, that I publish my work and a small co-op through. So go check us out. But the most important thing right now is getting eyes on this campaign. Just stay tuned.
Love it. And Daniel?
Well, I'm going to plug Ben's book, My Brother's Keeper, again, and Herman's books too. You can see they look amazing behind him. So make sure you guys check them out. You could follow us at the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. Like I said, it's going to be our host podcast platform. So we're going to do all news, updates. The trailer for the Kickstarter is up there. I'm going to start sharing again today. It's the updated one. So make sure you guys check that out. You can follow us at Shadow Stain Press on Facebook. That's our like page for anything that we'll do with this Arcane Awakenings Kickstarter. You'll get all news updates, such as this live interview is up there as well. So please make sure you guys check that out. If you guys can check out my website, www.authordanielkubal.com. I got a lot of updates that are going on there for my own stuff. You can also follow my Facebook profile page, Author Daniel Kubal. I usually am everywhere. So if you pick up a rock, you'll find me somewhere on social media. So thank you again, Herman, for having us on. Ben, I agree with Ben. It was really fun. So
yeah, it's always a great time to chat with you guys, and appreciate you both being able to be here today on a Saturday morning or afternoon, wherever time zone you happen to be in. But thanks again. Lots of fun, and I can't wait to see the cover. The way that Ben's eyes lit up there definitely is making me want to see it even more. And I know
it's be the first thing after we get done and say, Ben, send it to me.
I know, right?
It's in the Discord, Daniel. Go look.
All right, see you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let you get on with the rest of your day, and thank you all once again.